This is Life as an Outsider. I'm your host, Jake Schneider. Hey, what's going on, folks? It's Jake Schneider here from Life as an Outsider. I'm your host, and today I have a really fun guest. Her name's Maria Wagner. She owns Boho Vase here in Ankeny. Maria, how you doing this morning?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing really well. Thanks for having us on. It's really kind of a funny story how we know each other. You used to work with your husband, and I heard about this new place opening up. I was like, oh, that sounds cool. And then I heard that it was, the wife of my coworker. I was like, hey, this is awesome.
Yeah.
So how long have you been open?
We have been open since October of last year, but we were online before that for a couple years, just working out of my townhome. So, yeah.
You made it work for a little bit?
Yes. We grew out of the townhome, got a house, working out of the house for like a couple weeks, and then saw that this place was for lease, and it wasn't part of the plan, but yeah.
So tell me what exactly it is, Boho Vase. What is Boho Vase?
So the Boho Vase originally started out as me painting vases. So I would thrift and upcycle, and it was kind of like a trash to terracotta method. So it looked like a terracotta pot. Mm-hmm. And so I started out doing that. I would stage it with pampas grass, and so I would do like dried floral arrangements, that type of thing. So it started out as just doing that. And then it kind of grew into like gift and home decor and that type of thing. So, yeah.
That's really interesting. Where did the name come from?
Honestly, I just came up with it out of the blue. Boho is like a really popular style right now. And then I just threw in the word vase because I was painting vases. And I was like, I feel like it kind of fits like with the home decor aspect of it too, because you're decorating with a boho vase type of thing. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I guess, you never really think about, at least I don't, because I don't own a home. Yeah. And, I'm a single guy, so I don't have anybody to tell me that I need to put a vase somewhere or something like that. But, yeah, you're right. That is something that has really kind of come into its own, especially lately, is the boho style.
Yeah.
I watched a lot of, my mom made me watch a lot of like Extreme Home Makeover, things like that, the Chip and Joanna Gaines one, whatever that's called. And so the idea of interior design is always so fascinating to me. Did you always have like a passion for it, or is that more recent?
I've always kind of had a passion for it. So I always would decorate my home, post it on Facebook, do that type of thing. Growing up, I loved to decorate. I mean, even playing with my Barbies, I would like set up little rooms and like have them fully decorated, like on my countertop in my bedroom. But really, it kind of started with, I went to college for entrepreneurship, and I was debating on going in interior design, but I was like, I just don't know if I want to design other people's homes if it doesn't fit like my style, I guess. So did entrepreneurship, and then I decided to go work at Bath & Body Works for a few years. And there it's very, very visual. So you walk in, you have the huge tables, you do the floor sets. They're like the front table will take like 8 hours on like average to do, but with multiple people, it takes less time. So I would sit and I would decorate and do that and manage that. And that really taught me a lot about visuals. So moved on from that, went to small business. Then you kind of get the freedom to decorate how you want to decorate. But I learned a lot from that as well. So, yeah, just kind of all carried and meshed into here. So, yeah.
That's how it goes. It has to start somewhere, right?
Yep.
And even, I didn't play with Barbies. I played with G.I. Joes.
Yeah.
But even thinking about that, like, I'm somebody that was always an artistic kid. And so I would, like, draw little tattoos on my G.I. Joes. And now I'm not nearly that artistic anymore, but it kind of fueled that idea of creativity. And so I think it's really cool when somebody has that opportunity, and that really does kind of fuel their creativity, and it kind of fuels their creative drive. And it sounds like that even propelled you into college as well.
Yeah. I knew I wanted to own a business. I didn't quite know what I wanted to do or what my like niche was, but I knew I was really good at decorating and designing and that type of stuff. So I knew I wanted to do something along that route. I didn't even know that I wanted to do florals. It just kind of fell into my lap. But yeah.
So what kind of got you into doing florals? Was it just something you'd seen online and you're like, I can do that?
So with the staging like of my vases, I kept getting people. So I would just stage them, just throw stuff in there, and people would be like, "Do you sell this?" And I was like, "No, like I just use it to stage the vase." But I got to thinking, and I was like, I could sell this. And so I did some research on YouTube and like building of dried floral arrangements, that type of thing, and I would watch like countless YouTube videos of doing that. But then Instagram is a great tool. I would meet other creators who are doing the same thing. And then I would reach out to them, like, what is this called? What are you using? That type of thing. And they were also really helpful. So I've made a lot of friends that way too, that have kind of helped me as well in that aspect of it. Because I was like, I don't really want to go back to school and become a florist. Like, I don't want to deal with live flowers and do all of that. So, yeah.
Yeah, I hear you on that. That's something totally different than what you're doing now. And I think that's key, is that you reached out to other creators and that other creators were, willing to help you and willing to kind of give you some tips and tricks, because I think that's something new in the entrepreneurial realm, is people actually willing to share their experience. Because so many times, it's been, I'm doing this to get ahead. Why would I help you?
Yep.
Is that something that you kind of encountered at all when you were getting ready to start this?
I almost feel like it's something like new with like our generation. I feel like we're all so much more willing to help each other. Definitely the creators that have helped me out are my age. So they came from a place where they're just starting out as well. So I feel like we have that much in common of like, and we're far enough apart. It's not like they're next door to me either and they're competition, but they're from different states or like different parts. So I don't know. I just feel like they've been really helpful. I've been really helpful to them. Like, they've slid up on my Instagram stories or whatever and asked me where I've gotten certain pieces or like things like that. So yeah.
That's awesome to hear. And yeah, it's really all about that community. And speaking of community, your store is in one of the places that we love. I mean, we've talked to Teresa from West 40. I bring her up consistently because she's been a huge supporter. And we also talk about Porchlight, my favorite coffee shop in the area. Uptown Ankeny is a really cool area to kind of make your home.
Yep. I love Uptown Ankeny. It reminds me of, so I grew up in a small town in northern Iowa called Hampton. And it's like, when you get further up there, it's really old main streets. And so when we moved to Ankeny, I was like, oh my gosh, like Uptown Ankeny is so cute. Like, it's reminds me of home. So especially like this building with like the whole brick building aspect of it, I was like, I think this would be the perfect spot. And I love it. The whole street is just lined with small businesses, and it's amazing. They're not like huge corporations or,
Well, and they do so much to help each other out too. With, I'm thinking of Porchlight. In the back, they have this cool little turf area that they also share with Uptown Garage, which is another awesome place. I know you guys frequent that one.
Yes.
It's fantastic. As you kind of got into doing this and thinking, okay, I could make a business out of this, what was your thought process, and why did you choose online first? Was that just because you started kind of decorating your own home and people were like, hey, can I buy this? Or what was kind of your thought process in going with that first?
So I started out with just an Etsy shop, and I was like, okay, did that for a while. Fees are really high on Etsy. And so I was like, I know how to build my own website. So I started doing that, and we had an extra bedroom in our townhome. And so I redid the whole thing and I made it like picture perfect to stage my vases and the floral arrangements. But I don't know. It really was just growing out of the space in our townhome. I always wanted a storefront. I knew I always wanted a storefront, but when I started the business, I was only like 22, 23. And so I don't have all the cash in the world. I don't have all the money in the world. So I was like, I could go get a loan, but I want to build it from the ground up. And so I was like, I got to start somewhere. So I started online, and I started doing pop-ups, and I started doing markets. I think markets really launched me into getting out there. So my first market was Vintage Market Days of Eastern Iowa. It's a 3-day market. It's really long. It's huge, but that really helped me gain the experience, gain the clientele, and really like build that up. So then I started doing more and more markets to get to where I am today. So a lot of my advice to like other people who are just starting out in their small businesses is to do a lot of pop-ups and markets, like whether it's at coffee shops or little pop-ups that are going on around the area. Like it's a great way to get your business out there. Yeah.
It's a really good point. Because it's really hard to make money when you're also trying to pay off a loan.
Yeah.
You know, so many entrepreneurs I've talked to are like, well, I haven't taken a paycheck yet and things like that. And part of the reason I think that is because so many people are trying to pay back the money that they borrowed first. And just it already kind of puts you at a disadvantage.
Yeah. And when you're leasing, it's expensive. So when you don't have that big expense coming out, it is really, really helpful. Or like even like I still do visual sets at Bath and Body Works like on the side just to gain some extra money so I'm not pulling out of my business because this is my full-time job now. So
that's awesome. When did it become your full-time job?
Beginning of the year. So beginning of the year, took the leap and was just like, I'm going to do it full-time. I was starting out only open Thursday, Friday, Saturdays, but then I was like, I'll just be open all week, and it's been great. So
that's awesome. And your storefront looks fantastic.
Oh,
it is decorated very well. You know, lots of very pale pinks and tans, and it's a very fun and festive idea. And what was it like? So bringing that into Ankeny, bringing that to a storefront, you're coming up on a year now of being full time. What was that first 2 or 3 months like where you're just like, what am I gonna do? You know, I just started doing this full time.
I don't know. It was like nerve-wracking, obviously, but I don't know. I've always been a big believer in myself, and my friends have always been like, Maria, if there's anybody that can do it, it's gonna be you. Like, you're gonna be fine. But I'll like have a slight panic, and then I'm like, I'm fine. It's okay. So I don't know. And I've also like my husband's really supportive too with everything, and like I'm like, I hope like everything goes well, blah, blah, blah. But I don't know. It's been great. Like the community's been great and supportive. So, I mean, I feel like, yeah.
That is one nice thing about being up in Uptown Ankeny, kind of like I referenced earlier, is that supportive community.
Yes.
And, you know, you keep mentioning your husband. Shout out Mitch. We love the guy. He's a great dude. How important has it been to have that support system even here at home?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yes. I'm like, you believe in me way more than I believe in myself sometimes. And he's like, well, I know you can do it. Like, and so, yeah, just like little things around the shop if I need his help, or like he'll greet customers in here too. And I'm like, you're doing such a good job. But like, he's so funny because he's like, I hope sometime that this takes off and like I could work for you full time. And I'm like, I don't know if I could work with you all day, but
I can attest to that.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I don't know. He's just great. He's been so supportive. He's taken on things at home that it's just been great. So yeah.
Yeah. That support system really is so key. And, you know, even for the entrepreneurs who are not married, who are not, you know, partnered up as it were, find your community at least.
Yeah.
Like it sounds like that's one that you found here in Ankeny.
Yep, absolutely.
As you have been open for almost a year, and you've been doing this full time since the beginning of 2023, so about 8 months now. What are some of the challenges that you've had to overcome, even just in getting a storefront?
Let's see. One of the biggest challenges that has happened to me this year was probably the summertime. Summer was really slow. I knew summer was going to be slow, but I didn't expect it to be that slow. So there's a couple months that I broke even, which was kind of scary, but that's when I launched my event table. So I had to come up with an idea of a way to get people in here when it is slower. So June is like wedding season. So my idea was the next door neighbors moved out. They had this huge table over there. And so I asked them if I could buy it from them. And they ended up just giving it to me. I painted it pink, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to start doing events. So that was like, you can bring in a bridal shower, bachelorette party, birthdays, that type of thing. You can come in, build your own arrangement. It's something that lasts forever. So I launched that, and that really has helped. It really helped carry me through the summer. But yeah, I'd say that's probably like my biggest challenge so far. I really haven't had anything super drastic happen, thank God. But yeah, it's been great. So
yeah, it gets people in on that process too. It brings a personalized flavor to a decoration that they have in town. I mean, I think of the different pottery places or like Candle Bar down in Valley Junction. I think that once you're able to get the customer involved in the process, that really kind of creates a more special bond between not just your product and them, but also you and them. And so because of that, like, have you gotten contracted? Like, hey, I need help with my wedding. Can you do this for me?
I have, but also I'm a one-woman show as of right now. And I used to work as a wedding assistant as well, but I'm not sure if I really want to get involved in weddings just because it is a lot of time. It takes up all your weekends, that type of thing. And I just don't know if I want to get wrapped all the way up into that. I feel like I want to be more of like your specialty gift shop, and you come here to build your everlasting arrangements and that type of thing. So yes, that is the route that I kind of want to go there. My dream is to have a huge gift shop space, and then in the back have like walls lined with like rainbow florals, and you can come in and build, and it's like a big photo op thing, that type of thing. So
that's a really cool idea. I like that a lot. I have never had to go through the wedding planning process or help out with weddings, but I'm sure, as Tyler can attest to right now, it's a hassle.
Yeah, yeah. I think Mitch helped us pick out the food. I think is what his big, yeah. Otherwise, it was basically me.
There you go.
Yeah, me and my friends doing everything else.
And I've talked to so many people about their weddings specifically. I've had so many friends in this past year that have gotten engaged, and like, wedding planning it's great when you're done with it.
Yeah, it is a lot.
And that's a really good way to look at it too. Is most entrepreneurs start a business so that they can kind of have some control over their schedule.
Yeah.
And when you kind of get involved in something like weddings, I can only assume that you lose that independence that you had.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one of the reasons why I left Bath and Body Works too, is because it was so demanding. You're working 40, 50, 60-hour weeks. And so I kind of took a step back, and I was like, I don't want to do this for somebody else. I'd rather be doing it for myself. So I don't mind putting in 50, 60-hour weeks for myself. It's just that I don't want to do that every single week. Right. Yeah. And then also dried florals are really hard to get sometimes. It takes a really long time to ship them in. So I don't want to not necessarily let anybody down, but not be able to get the product that they want and the colors that they want, because they're all hand dyed in specific colors. And so you may see a color on the internet, think it's looks perfect, takes 3 weeks to get here. It's not the color that you wanted, type of thing. So don't want to do that.
Yeah. So I'm curious, where do you how do you source your dried florals? Because for me, my first impression was that there was some, basically a dehydrator in the back, and you're getting really bored, and you're just out picking flowers like Laura Ingalls Wilder and just kind of trying to figure it out. So how do you source that?
So the brown pampas grass actually grows in the ditches here in Iowa. So my friend's dad will actually go and pick it for me, and then we'll take a whole carload back to my house, and then I'll literally shed it all and then bring it all in here. But that's the only one that grows here. And there's a little tiny feathery one too. But the rest of it I get they can grow out in California, Canada, Australia. So I'll ship it in from basically farmers there. So if you go to California, down in that part of the United States, they have flower markets, dried flower markets. So you can walk through, and you can the florist there can just go and grab what they want. And I really want to go to one someday, but for now I have to get it all shipped in. And so there's different wholesalers that I buy from to get it all here. So, yeah.
So what you're saying is you don't want anybody to bring in a bunch of dry, dead grass to kind of help out.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Good to know. Just making sure on that, because that's really cool, though. And you're supporting different communities while you're doing that, too. You're not purchasing it from a big corporation. You're purchasing it from small business owners and farmers. And that's huge. I mean, especially, I think that growing up in the Midwest, we have such a natural respect for farmers and for people that make their own way that it almost seems counterintuitive to do anything else than support small.
Right. And that's one of my big things, too, is I've always wanted to grow this business to support other small businesses. So even on the weekends, like doing pop-ups with different small businesses, or like our 1 year coming up, I have a bunch of small businesses planned to come in. I really want to help those people that are just starting out, just trying to grow their business, because we do have a pretty good following on Instagram. So I feel like whenever we share, do a giveaway with somebody, like it really helps them gain those followers. And that I always just take pride in that, because I'm like, yay, like they're growing their business so much. And I love that. So,
well, and it goes back to what we were talking about with the bridesmaids, the bridal parties and things like that. They have their hand in their own creation. And now you can sit there and say, I had a hand in helping that small business with their success. And I think that's huge. I don't think that there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah.
And honestly, I kind of think that's what we're all here for, is just to continue supporting each other. And I think Uptown Ankeny is a pretty good example of that. Yeah.
And even like, I always think about this too. When I first started, Chloe, who owns Candle Bar, I was literally just painting vases, and she messaged me one day and was like, hey, do you want to come decorate my windows with your vases? And I was like, oh my gosh, like, yeah. And so she paid me to come literally put vases in her storefront of different colors. And then I started staging them with like the pampas grass and that type of thing. And like, even though it was like a small gesture, it really helped me with my business getting started, because I had people telling me like, oh my gosh, I saw your vases in Candle Bar's window in like Valley Junction. It's high traffic area, that type of thing. So like that really helps. So if I can pass that on and do that for somebody else, then that's like, that'll make my day.
That's the dream right there, is to know that you had an impact in somebody else's business and to know that you were able to help grow their business as well. That really is the dream right there.
Yep.
So as we kind of start to wrap up on our episode, we keep mentioning your 1 year. So you're doing something here, and this episode will come out by then. So we can talk in future tense.
Okay.
You're doing something here at Boho Vase for your 1 year, correct?
Yes. So I am going to have like a mini market outside the store. I have a couple vendors pending, but the ones that will be here, there is Honeybee Coffee Camper Co. out of Pella. She just started, so she will be here in the parking lot. And so that's super exciting. And then we have new neighbors next door. Sunny Babe Company, which is a new children's like boho company. They do clothing and stuff over there, so they'll be open. And then I'm trying to think who else confirmed. Hannah Banana Fabrics. So she does like some really cute like quilting, makes bags and items like that. So yeah, I think that's all I have confirmed right now. The other ones are kind of still needing to check with some different people, but yes.
That's awesome. Yes. That's going to be really fun. We talked with Emma. We're trying to figure out a time to get together and have an interview. She's an awesome person, and hopefully we'll get it done by then.
Yes.
But yeah, that's really cool, and continuing to support those local businesses. And, you know, how can we support you in that? How can the listeners of Life as an Outsider, how can we support you as the Boho Vase, and as, you know, Maria, who owns the Boho Vase? How can we support you?
I mean, honestly, anything. A like, a share, a comment, a review, like anything like that. Just, I see it all. I'm constantly on social media stalking different things, but I see everything. So just anything like that, like, it makes my day. So
awesome.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming it's just at the Boho Vase.
Yep. At the Boho Vase, on Instagram, Facebook.
And you're not open Sundays and Mondays, but you're open Tuesday through Saturday?
Yes.
Okay. Yep. So what are your hours for that?
Tuesday through Friday, it's 10 to 5, and then Saturday, 10 to 4.
Awesome.
Yep. Awesome.
Well, Maria, this has been really fun.
Yeah.
It's always really fun talking to somebody with, you know, those small town connections and somebody who's so passionate about Uptown Ankeny because, you know, I grew up on Elm Street, which is 6 blocks that way. Lived there for a few years, and seeing how Uptown Ankeny has grown even since then, even since I moved to Ankeny. I mean,
I know.
I was in, it's either this one or the one next door, which used to be the European grocery market.
Oh my gosh.
And I was in here once or twice. Yeah, I couldn't communicate with the person that I was buying anything from, but it's so cool just seeing how things have grown and changed. And, you know, I'm glad that we're able to support you. I'm glad that we're able to support each other. So,
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for being an outsider with us. And yeah, I'm excited to see where you go.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Awesome. Thanks, Maria. Folks, make sure that you check out the Boho Vase at the Boho Vase on all social medias. This is Life as an Outsider. Be kind to each other.